Hi everybody. My name's John Cain, spelt without the E, like Michael Caine. Not a lot of people know that, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's C-A-I-N without the E. Basically, I'm covering the power generation of the Magrav. My background history is I was an engineer, did an apprenticeship with British Nuclear Fuels in the nuclear industry. Came away from that, went into design and the automotive industry. Basically, I started to understand frequencies because we to design parts that were to be away from like a chassis' natural frequency. So, say a chassis of a vehicle resonates at 20 hertz. If you attach a part with the natural frequency of that similar frequency, the part will disintegrate. And if you take it above 5 hertz or below, the part will stay forever. So I understood that once you could find the natural frequency of elements like aluminium, steel, and the same thing with like harmonics with glass, where people can say sing high pitch frequencies and shatter glass. They're actually getting into the natural frequency of the glass and breaking the molecules apart. So I was understanding that frequencies in relation to everyday life are such a big importance, and that made me think about, we've got the gravitational energy always acting on us and the magnetics, and I thought there's got to be a way of tapping into this natural energy that spins the earth continuously. So that was my thoughts as a young engineer. This is going back quite a number of years. Basically, turning to like the Magravs, I've been looking also at sacred geometries and the phi ratio, tapping into the natural growth rate of the universe, which is, I believe, the phi ratio, the spiral, golden mean spiral, which I'll put on a quick video, which just explains that. Sorry, mate.
Press the mouse over there and then press another finger.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you.
So each time you just,
Yeah, cheers, mate. Okay, that just demonstrates. All right. That just demonstrates that, well, it links into the nature, and basically, from a human perspective, we're built up exactly the same way. If you take a measurement of your tip of your finger to your first knuckle and then times it by 1.618, which is a phi ratio, gives you the next size, and then the next, and then the next, and the same from your tip to your joints. You get the phi ratio throughout your nose, your ear, the spiral. Everything relates to that. So that's like the growth rate of the universe, effectively. And tapping into that, that's what I've learned with the Coil productions. When Kesh first initially came out with the designs, I'll just run through a slight bit and then I'll interact with the phi ratio. I've got a video of technology of the actual fields and that, which I'll go back to. But basically, initially, Kesh came out with a ratio of 162 turns on these coils and 81. He was staying with the power of 9, the Tesla sort of knowledge. But after doing a lot of research over a few years, I was looking at quantum physics, all the aspects, the cymatics, the ratio, Greg Brandon, Dan Winters. I was looking at a lot of sources of information to get a good understanding myself. And then I was looking into the pyramids and Tesla knowledge. And basically I decided to turn my coil unit into the golden ratio. So I picked up 89 and 144, which now the Kesh is 144 and 81, but I use the actual golden ratio to pick up on the spiral, basically, because I believe natural energy can be amplified by using the fundamentals of the universe and the growth rate, and also geometric shapes. For instance, the pyramids. Everyone's heard of Nikola Tesla. Anyone who hasn't, raise their hands, or just so I don't need to cover. Nikola Tesla, he invented AC current, radar, radio, anything to do with frequency. He was a genius. He was a genius that was we don't hear about, or the mainstream don't hear about, because he actually invented what we are doing now, wireless free energy. I believe he understood the pyramids of Egypt. The geometric shape of a pyramid amplifies electromagnetic frequency from the Schumann resonance of the planet. It comes up and it amplifies. So that's why you see Chinese men with like pyramid hats on, because it expands. It helps expand the consciousness because your field, your brain field, is being amplified purely by geometric shapes. And there's just a few examples, like the honeycomb of a bee being a hexagon that stores perfect charge, and then you've got a pentagon which distributes charge evenly, perfectly. The pentagon, if you take the angle of a pentagon, 108 internal, or the 72, every time it'll add up to 9. The numerology of a pentagon always comes down to the number 9, which represents the spiral of life. And there's a lot of interaction with numerology and using this technology in line with nature, and we're creating implosive, non-explosive natural energy, tapping into the planet and the cosmic energy. That just covers a bit of that. I'll just explain a little bit about the coils for people who are interested in building Magrav units, which are pretty easy, but I'll show you my video shortly just to give you a breakdown of easy methods if people are interested, for maybe the guys, of making them without having to do it by hand and things like that. The coils, you've got the bigger coil on the outside, and then you've got which is a magnetical, and then you've got the internal, which is a gravitational coil. You thread them within each other to give you a double loop coil. You have an extended piece that rotates all the way through, interlocks the coils to give you that formation. I think somebody's if anyone wants to have a look at any of the things, I've just done a small set there, which is thinner gauge material, but it's easy to manipulate. So you end up building these coils, like I say, to the geometric scales I were looking at, which tightens them up. And when you get a closer set of coils, you then get an infinity loop between the two. So again, you start amplifying the energy coming from these coils. And basically, Oliver's asked me, and a few people say, how does it get the energy? How does it work? And what's the fundamentals? I believe because we cannot see the energy of gravitational weighing us down, it's in the environment. You take these anywhere and you're tapping into just the natural source energy. We've got the plasmatic lines. They may increase if you're on strong ley lines because there's more plasmatic energy flowing through. But I believe as the Schumann resonance is lifting, then this sort of technology should become more, it'll enhance and become more powerful as we go forward in the future. Yeah, the linking of the coils, there's a specific way of doing it, but there's blueprints that you can easily attain to make your own off the Kesh website. You interlock, tie in the gravitational to work together, and then go to the magnetical around the outside, and to give you that pull and push repulsion that we've discussed before. And then bringing nano coating into it once the coils have been produced, and you've got them in a place where you want to nano coat. You can flame coat them or use the caustic method. There's pros and cons with them both. The flame gives you a strong nano coating which doesn't allow it to be as damaged as easily, but the nano layers that you get from a flame aren't quite as efficient as what you would get off caustic, because caustic draws the actual nano layers higher and gives you a rougher surface. So turning the copper coils black, obviously black absorbs energy as well as an energy absorber, and tying that together, I've started introducing, because of the research I'd done I ended up going into crystals and crystal healing, so I'm turning like the GANs, coating the GANs on the coils, but I've been using amethyst crystals as my central core point, understanding that amethyst holds charge and can recharge other crystals, and it's my birthstone, and I'm born on the 13th of February, it's the 13th of May. Turning to the number 13 to me is significant because a lot of this mathematics and numerology that I've come up with gives me a 13 number. And for instance, aluminium is atomic number 13, and I found that to be one of the best conductors of plasma energy. So through meditation and different aspects that I was doing, I was trying to link in, cross-referencing with nature, picking up flowers, looking at how they grew and the geometric shapes that they were giving. And I've just been trying to tie a lot of information that I've researched to try and improve and add and give back to the Kesh Foundation. I've already given them a reactor design based on a pentagon interlocking like the macabre tetrahedron, but I've done it with a pentagon and trying to incorporate that with mirrors, glass, sound resonance and lasers. So that's one of my next projects, to start developing that in line with crystals and the GANs. I know the intention aspect works because I've had things in my house not working, and when I've put my intention and said, come on, work, like a tumble dryer, for instance, that I were having problems, I kept pressing the button and I'm like, why is it not starting, and emptying the cylinder? And when I said, work please, and because it was rigged through my system, pressed it once and on it came. So I've not got video footage of that, and I wish I'd done it, but I've got some video footage of the fields that these systems generate. I'll just go back to the video. I'll put that on. Please excuse me because I do these things on my own when I'm listening to music, and you'll probably see off a heater just now, you can see a plasma field coming off a halogen heater that I've got at the back of the garage. but I'll pause it as we go through. I'll just check them on there. Yeah. If you can see the field there, there's like a purple plasma field coming off my heater. It's more clear on there. And excuse the mess in my garage. My drawers are very tidy and all my tools are in line, but my workplace is a bit more. Dog Eddie, always around. I'll just pause it there. I'll just explain what's going on. I'm testing. I've got a meter which I'll do some. I'm going to do some demos and a bit of audience interaction. I've got a field meter, and this pen only detects AC current from 50 to 1,000 volts at 50 to 60 hertz. That's all it'll pick up. And basically I'm demonstrating the field strength, what's coming off my Magrav unit, and then I'm starting to demonstrate that it travels across any surface because the Magrav mimics AC current and converts it into plasma, but the plasma's mimicking AC current, so it'll go throughout. It's totally safe. I'll just explain. I only split the live wire so I can touch all this. There's 240 volts going through, but this plasma energy is like safe as well. I mean, we've got electrical current that, you know, we can get a shock off and it can stop your heart, but this technology is also safe, so we're not dealing with dangerous elements of electricity. That's basically showing the plasma field extending, because it's over time it'll nanocoat your whole house, which I've got another video on. Not the best video footage, sorry. So yeah, that just shows a little bit of the field transfers of over any sort of material, glass, mirrors. I'm working with mirrors as well. The idea is to, like I say, encapsulate a reactor or a magrav and then fire lasers at crystals to give you an amplifier. I'm looking to amplify the energy and power. But basically, I had this in my garage. I had that set up. That's the only place where I put it, with a strip plug, this unit that I've got here. And over time, the understanding that I get is electrical systems, as your heart and your blood flow, only go in one direction. So your heart pumps it one direction round. That's, you know, the third dimensional way of looking at it. The same with energy. You've got a system or a ring main that goes one direction. Plasma technology, or as like your nervous system, runs in two directions. And I've heard the stories of people, amputees, that have had, like, you know, the leg cut off or whatever, they've lost a leg in wars or whatever it'll be, but they can still feel an itch in the toe after it's gone. That's because the mind, the actual nervous system body, part of your body, believes it's still there. It's only gone in physicality. So you've got that relationship in terms of physical to the electrical field beyond your physical. So basically the nano coating on the coils is like one stage up, and then the GaNs is the next field up to a superconductor. And that's what happens. Basically the plasma will go in both directions, so it'll nano coat all the way back through the house. It doesn't have to be just one direction. It migrates and mimics the AC field. And basically what I was finding was it was going through on my ceiling, throughout the house. It was keeping heat in more. But there's another video that will demonstrate that a bit further on. I'll just move through the coils. So the nano coating, then we get to the actual field flow. So these units basically are like a mini sun. They generate the same torus field. I'll take that off and I'll do a quick demonstration of that. So this has been on with Oliver's, and that's the actual Magrav just overnight. And we've got the same difference now. I'll do a demonstration just to show you what's coming out on this plug over here. So sorry, I'm gonna have to divert your eyes just so that you can see. So we've got a 13 amp circuit coming through, and we've got a range of, you know, an inch, 2 inches. So that's like 240 volts, 13 amp power coming through, and that's already picking it up. This is not even rigged up. All I've got is a strip plug, a tiny wire. I've put high loads through this. Doesn't heat the system up, because basically instead of the energy flowing through the copper, through the matter state where you get resistance, once it's nano coated, it becomes like diamond resistance, and I can show that on a demonstration later. You can measure it. So the actual current flows on the outside, not through the matter, so it's less resistance. So once you nano coat your house, any appliance that you use uses less current, because there's less loss in the actual line from the start of your house to like your kettle. You get a certain amount of current drop over that distance, but when it's nano coated, basically it flows freely straight to the appliance. But then it'll start nano coating different appliances and motors, and you start getting energy reduction. Particularly in Hoovers, any motor is more effective. Resistive loads like kettles, it's more difficult for the plasma to convert that full-on force, but it is improving. But I'll show you now, basically that's a range, you know, compared with what is over there. But this is where it starts putting it across all the everything that's around, you know. So it's picking up AC current. Yes, Oliver?
The table, is that really interesting?
Oh, the
That table cloth here, you can pick it up with drive and tea table.
yeah. So yeah, you've got that. So I'll show you. There'll be nothing on, or there'll be no field current at all coming through, you know, anywhere. Even if we rigged up, even off this, you know, there should be something coming. Oh, it will pick up because we've been running the line through. But there's no field. So that demonstrates that there's no, you know, that these are actually producing plasma energy, because we'll go anywhere on the carpet. I'll see if it's gone any lower down. And that's where the field will change. Sorry? I will. Well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in a minute because if you touch the aluminium, I'll put this down a minute. So the aluminium, I believe, is like a really good field. So it's flowing through me now in terms of if I turn it round. So we've got a video of this wirelessly transmitted through a Zoom meeting as well, which we can show. Yes.
If you're standing all day in your workshop with all of this plasma, how do you feel different to when you're not in it?
I feel a lot better. I have a big change. If I've like used to play tennis quite a lot and being tall could suffer with back injury, I'd come and stand near my magrav for a while and put my back to it, and I was a lot better afterwards. And even when I was in my house, I've moved out, I started to feel like I was looking in the mirror and I was less tired, less bags, and I know that the interaction of the plasma is benefiting me, definitely.
Emotionally? So you see you've got physical difference. Is there anything cognitively or emotionally that you can touch on?
Yeah, there's definitely. I'll try and meditate with it because it's called TED. It's called TED. Is my magrav. What's yours called, Michael? Charlie. And what's yours called, Oliver? Hilda. Ted, because they used to call me dog Eddie. I used to call him Teddy Edwards, so I made the Magrav Ted. So, but I like I say, with the crystals, I've used it and I've been trying to enhance the fields of it with crystals and wires to reposition the energy back through the system to try and get a more of a over unity system. I'm looking at concentrating on trying to amplify what we've got, because this technology will give us anti-gravity craft, everything. I've already looked at the designs that Tesla did, which he had so many coils around a disk, central reactor, and basically one would talk to the other consciously, because what we're talking about is you'll be thinking of where you want to go and you'll be taken to where you want to go. I mean, it's space age and all that, but we're not so far away from Star Trek as you'd think. If Tesla have had his way, we'd probably be there by now. So, yeah. Well, I was thinking I should have put Keshi's car, because he's already done a car, an amplified car. But that's all you need to do. Once you can hit certain frequencies, you can break the gravitational effect. And that's like where we're going, and that's partly where I want to develop. That's one of my drives. I'm keen to get anti-gravity and get us off the roads and all this traffic. You would just go up and you would not hit anybody, because your consciousness would not allow that to happen. We're talking, different planets, different galaxies, because once you tune into a galaxy's frequency, it's dialing in a signature. It's like Stargate SG-1, that's more of a reality again than we can perceive. They do show us a lot of the technologies that I believe they've already got. So this just explains the setup and the upstream and downstream of the actual units. But like I say, the actual plasma energy travels both directions in this setup. And I started taking readings of my house, and basically I fitted in last June, so I gave it a month to integrate. Took measurements in July, August, September, October, and basically it shows the normal rate, but this blue line is what effect I was getting. I was getting probably 25% saving on the energy, but I'm sure that can be ramped up. But the other factor was when I show you the house, the plasma field was saving me energy through the house. It was holding heating. I was noticing the heating wasn't coming on as often. It was coming on and keeping the house warm. And then I'd noticed it'd only fire up a couple of times a day to reheat. So it will give you what you need. It's a give and take relationship. We've got a conscious technology that we can interact with, and it's I understood it when I first heard Kesh describing the magnetical positioning and the planets and all that. In fact, if you measure the orbit of Venus to the orbit of Earth, it's exactly the phi ratio. So everything is in relation, you know, everything from the macro to the microcosm. Nazim Haramein, his unified field theory, and that is, you know, I resonate highly with all these guys because it's all good. Yes, sorry. Oh yeah, the mirrors, yeah. I mean, you saw one under the table. I was trying to reflect the energy back that was coming down to, again, enhance the plasma energy back to my unit, which could have been reflecting it up onto the roof of my house. I've been using crystals around it. I've been doing a lot of work with that. But the design that I've thought about was doing a pentagon pyramid. So it's a six-sided prism, effectively, with a ratio to the hexagon. I don't want to get into the mathematics because I don't want to confuse people, but basically I was doing it at a specific height. I was going to put mirrors pointing inwards, drill holes, put lasers to a central core crystal, have them spinning with sound, because that's what the pyramids were about. They had sound resonance chambers, they had light coming in, the underground part was, and what Tesla did with his Colorado Westinghouse, his big dome structure, he mimicked the pyramids basically. And if you've got underground streams creating static electricity, like under the pyramids there's loads of underground rivers, that draws the static electricity to a big square room that they had, all granite lined, and then it had a granite lined tunnel up to the center part of the pyramid. So that transmitted the static electricity to a copper esophagus, which either had a giant crystal in it or the arc, the gold arc. But that then fired the energy up to the capstone, which was gold. The original pyramids had like a gold capstone that then could fire energy around the planet and link up with all the other pyramids that are on the planet. So they knew how to transmit all this energy, and probably had anti-gravity craft back in, you know, the 10, 15, 20,000 years ago. Not in my house. I used, because the house had a pyramid construction near the center, I did notice that it was stronger in them areas. You seem to get the plasma traveling, and then when you find there's a certain shape above it, it was amplified. And I'll show the other video. There's one that I've got that just shows the perpetual motion. This is wireless, so it's on the board that's where my Magrav was, and then it went up. I was building another unit, and I was playing with magnets, and I was trying to show perpetual motion, and this video just shows it briefly. So it's not even linked up, that's just drawing the energy that's going across the thing, and the magnet just kept going and going. And I know when I got more enthusiastic about it, it could speed up. I could have an influence on the amount of energy that it was putting out. But you can see it started ramping up quite a bit. I'll pause it there because I end up dropping it anyhow on that one. But that's just a basic influence. I started playing with lights and the spiral, so getting LED strip lights, because whatever the field was giving off, that would amplify the blue. So I was trying to enlighten the neighborhood to, you know, I was sending out the blue, the soda light, the blue. I was doing green for heart to begin with over Christmas, trying to make everyone understand the technology, because people I was showing were getting it, but not wanting the certain consciousness that people have to probably reach to understand. And that doesn't mean I'm not being egotistical. Everyone's on their own journey, but I'm trying to get people involved, and they're like, no, I don't fully understand it. It's one of those things. So that was just showing how we're trying to use lights like Oliver's done with his LEDs around the base of his. He's done a great job there. This is other, I've got a friend, one of Penny's friends as well, a guy called Roy who's a healer. He's got a health centre and he's involved with many different technologies. He does the cash, the CO2, he gives it his clients, CO2 bottles. But he's come up with a design that's improved his gas usage. He's wrapped the cash coils around a gas pipe. He's put warning, don't do this. So this is just for display because he was like not wanting to blow his house up or whatever. But he's incorporated magnets with the cash, the Magrav system. And basically he was getting 50% more heat output compared with his last winter. So he's been developing. Everyone's trying to develop, going off in their own direction, and I did to try and develop it with the crystals, using the GaNs. And I know the GaNs has got massive potential because we can create harder materials, we can create aluminium glass that's super tough and things like that. This is stuff that's starting to come out in mainstream a bit more. But he's done a simple diagram and how he's rigged it up. But he was telling us his results that he had from last winter. His gas bills were 50% less than the year before once he'd rigged this up. So it's good to get some sort of confirmation and some sort of figures of this technology working for us in an energetic form. I mean, the health, health is probably more important than saving money, but it gets us away from polluting the planet, which will then ever benefit. It's all interlinked. Yes?
Did he replace his furnace or put that on his existing furnace?
Sorry?
Did he put that on his existing furnace?
Yeah, he put that on his existing gas pipes near his boiler where the actual gas came in before it went into the boiler. So what plasma does, it charges any energy that's being used, the plasma understands and adds to it. It basically mimics the energy and it'll burn the gas at a higher rate than it would do before. I've got one in my car and I use LPG, which is not as good as an example. Like if you use diesel and petrol, people have had 50% savings using a Magrav through that. I've got 20% using LPG consistently. I used to get 250 miles to a tank, and no matter how I could never get that more, and now I'm getting 300 miles to a tank of LPG after fitting that. But it nano coats your car. I can get that perpetual motion on the carpet of my car because the plasma field goes throughout the car. And basically you'll find that your car won't rust as easily because you've got a protective coating running through it. It's limitless technology, basically. We can apply this to more or less everything that we use day to day. And that's what I love about the technology. This is just, oh no, that's the one with me and Michael. That's 15 minutes. I don't know if I've got the other one. These are some other configurations using GaNs, like the Flower of Life setting up. These are just other guys that we've in the Kesh Foundation that have got all sorts of different ideas and designs, which is brilliant. It's a creative sort of technology where we can use our consciousness to develop whatever we wish. That's going on to Michael's. I was just seeing if there was the other video. Did we take that out, Oliver, at all or not? Sorry. I did have one where I wanted to show you going through my house, and in my kitchen it was like 30 meters. I don't know if it got deleted.
Yeah, we may have moved that last night.
Yeah.
Is it? Ooh, I know. We have to find. Sorry about this.
Sorry, we adjusted it last night. And
Yeah.
We didn't put it in.
Here we are. That one.
Yeah, that might be it.
Quick time. That'll do. Won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the one with me and Michael.
Oh,
that.
it's not that one. This one.
Yeah.
Demonstration with an AC.
I'm running over on it. On that.
That's
No
right.
worries.
This one?
No, not that one. It
Yeah.
was the other one. It was one that was showing just through the
Yeah.
house one.
You got
Oh, it doesn't matter. You can run that one on me and Michael if you want, and then that shows it as well. That's fine. It's just
Sure.
15 minutes, I think.
yeah. In fact, the good thing about doing it this way, you can skip through.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. You
This
talk,
I'll just explain quickly.
An AC pen.
You can go through like that.
Okay.
Pick up current around the house. Picks up 50 to 1,000 volts AC to 50 to 60 hertz. Magravs have been running in this house for 8 months. And basically, Magravs have been removed, but I'm still getting the fields coming through, which this is all just wood, there's no electrics. I think the battery's going on this. No touching. Across the roof, still not as strong as what it was when the Magrav fitted, but because I was picking up quite a distance away when the Magravs was on here, I was picking up the field there, but now it's slightly weaker.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still picking up across the wood everywhere, without touching down. So this is the nano-coated doll house. It's still picking up on the ceiling. Various places there is strip lights, but I know the wiring doesn't run everywhere. And this is like getting to the extremity. Coming down, there's a cable there, so there's potential that that's picking up the back. In fact, no. So there's a switch, there's a light switch, still on picking up there, so that's getting the main feed, and it's not actually picking. And when it gets up there, up near the ceiling, this is where it gets retaining the field loss. And again, up here, there's nothing there. All the covers everywhere. How far down it'll go. Door jams. You're getting a good view of the picture. I'm just gauging the throughout the house. Coving down the walls. There's no electrical. There's nothing electrical coming down these walls. And even down here, it's still going. And then again, here's a light switch. Not getting anything really. Which is quite bizarre. Let's switch it off.
Yeah,
It's not picking up
I'm running
here.
over.
It's picking up.
Put it onto the slide.
Yeah.
And just tell them what that was doing.
Yeah, basically, we did an experiment where I'd taken my Magrav out of the house, so what you were seeing there was the residual, the nano coating of my wires was actually, so that house is going to be more efficient. We've sold it now and, it's going through at the moment. But that house is now nano coated, so it will run more efficient, and that's without having that in. So once your house is nano coated, you can move it on. That does enhance it because I know the fields were a lot stronger. That was the other video I was going to show. But that basically demonstrates what goes on, how you can use this technology throughout your house to reduce the bills and possibly hold the heat in and the rest. It is, like I say, once we get this up and running, out to the public, we can start saving people and they can heat their homes without feeling they're struggling. Yeah, sorry. So, yeah, could you?
Saying that your house becomes nano-coated by using the unit.
Yeah. The unit basically, from that point, it starts migrating back up the wires, and then I think once it hits the insulation, that's why I put it on this board. It's like a Celotex board. It transmits through it. The plasma must be able to flow between the like either polystyrene balls or the insulation, and it just spread it throughout my house. So wherever the cables were going, they became nano-coated and then started drawing their own field, which then spread to the actual insulation and sending it all through and then through the ceiling, and it was transmitting it down the cupboards. That's like, if you could take a camera and look at it, you'd probably see a plasma field so far down the house. But when we went further on, I ended up bringing this in, putting it on the kitchen top, and that started to bridge the gap. I was then getting a field going down to the floor near enough. So there's a lot of proof in what you see. It's and the results that we're getting, so it's really promising. From my point of view, I kind of already knew that this would work from the early days. I saw the results, and yeah, it was amazing to experience and go through it. It's been a great journey learning about this, and it gave me a lot of enthusiasm, because I always knew there was something that was missing, and this was it. This is part of the technology that's going to help. That's an actual Kesh one, manufactured, yeah, from Italy. That's Michael's one.
So it would do the same, and you've used your homemade?
Yeah, yeah, I made my own one. That's CE certified, so it's safety, electrical, you know, that's what you can buy in officially and use. Yeah, and mine's used with crystals, so my magrav seems more powerful than that one, because when we started transmitting the fields through, my magrav was sending more energy through a Zoom meeting, that meeting, to Michael's house. If we get time later, we can put the rest of the video on and you start seeing it. So it was wirelessly transmitting the energy through our conversation, and it's what Nikola Tesla always believed, that you could wirelessly transmit energy, and they're doing it now with electricity. They put high-powered coils, and they can light a light bulb from the other side of the room. But this is way beyond that. This is the easy route. They're just always showing us the hard, expensive route to try and achieve the same thing. So, but I'll leave it at that. There was a few more things to say, but I know I'm running over time. But yes.
So what role are crystals play? What do they do?
They're like the center point. Well, Nikola Tesla knew it's like quartz crystal, going back how you could power your watch with a piezoelectric current from a quartz crystal to aid your watch running. They never developed that, but crystals can hold an infinite amount of energy and an infinite amount of information. And because of their density of packed, how dense they're packed, that shows how much energy they must have to maintain that structure. So tapping into the center of a crystal is, phenomenal. And I know the extraterrestrials, I've seen CIA whistleblowers explaining they use quartz crystal, and they use the telepathy to fire up the crystal, and they draw all their energy to power the craft off it. So that's something else to be, looking at developing, and that's where I'm wanting to incorporate the GANs and everything with the crystals, and get hybrid technologies going forward as well. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Do we have crystalline substances in our bodies?
Do we have crystal? Yeah, apparently we're converting from carbon-based to silicon crystalline structure, and that's why our light body will then become active. This technology to me is a stepping stone to what we are capable of ourselves, or on a higher consciousness level. Once we unlock the secrets of our DNA, the suppressed DNA, we will then be able to comprehend and achieve, and telekinesis. That's what I mean. That's how I believe they built the pyramids. They could never built them by man. They knew the resonant frequency, or they used tools that say cones and maybe crystal energy to lift these objects. But Star Wars is not so far away with the Force, the ether. If we're all connected, we can use that energy. It's just being able to unlock that knowledge. Yeah, was there any more questions before I pass over to Michael?
Do you want 5-minute tea or carry on? Carry on. Yeah.
Yeah.
should we-
Oh no, I've run over,
Carry
apologies.
the day to its conclusion. We've got one question while Michael comes up.
Yeah.
I suppose when I saw the Magravs first, I thought you just kind of plugged it in and you put something in it, took over like that in solar. So how do you use it to replace, like if an oil boiler's going? Is this something that is going to take longer?
Yeah, it's going to be a transition time. I think what they're looking at is we can develop products that are actually plasmatic based rather than electrical. So I think like a lot of industry are scared of this technology, thinking, you're going to plug these in and they'll never make any more money but there's a potential of making brand new technologies and developing with plasma, so we can take electricity totally out because it's unsafe. We can get shocks off it. You can cut through cables and start fires. If we can get a plasma-based energy system with new products that they've already talking about, cookers that'll heat, meat perfectly, and different applications, different ways of doing it. But we're at the minute transitioning this technology to be in use with the current products that we have in our house, and then it'll be a transition phase of working them out, get rid of microwaves because they're horrible. They give off really bad waves that damage into us, but they're no good with the food either, the way that they work. So, it'll be a transition, but that's how it'll be. Well, thank you anyhow. Sorry to go on, and thank you for your time.